Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today I'm going to show you how to fade audio in and out in GarageBand. MacMost is brought to you thanks to its community of supporters. Join us and get exclusive content at MacMost.com/Patreon. So this is one of the biggest frustrations new users have with GarageBand. You have some audio and you want to do what seems like the simplest thing. You just want to either fade it in or fade it out or both. And it doesn't seem like there's a fade in or out command or there's an easy way to do it or anything like that. But once you learn where this functionality is, it's pretty easy to do. Alright, so note that I'm using GarageBand version 10.3.2. So here I've just laid in a sample loop and I have it playing for a little while and I want to have it fade in and fade out. So you can look through here and you won't find too much. If you search, you'll find there is a create volume fade out on main output. And you can use that just to get the fade out, but it may not be the effect you want and it's not going to help you with fade in. So the key here is to realize that fading is an automation. An automation is when something gradually changes over time. So to view automations you need to go to Mix, Show Automation. Now we've got something to work with. Over here we see a pull down menu and the default one is volume. There's actually a bunch of different stuff you can automate. But for fading, volume is exactly what we want. Then here we've got this line in the middle of our track. This is the volume line. So if we were to drag it up, that would increase the volume. Drag it down would decrease the volume. I'll undo to get it back in the middle. So what we want to do is have it start with the volume completely off and then gradually build up. So let's find a point where that would be. Maybe right here. And what I'm going to do is click, and if I click on that line it's going to create a point there. So now I have 2 points. The starting point here and this second point. I can drag the starting point down and now you can see it ramps up the volume. I could test it out. Now for fading out I can do the same thing. I'll click here on the line, create a point, and I'll click here at the very end to create a point. I'll drag this last point all the way down. So now it will fade out. Okay, great, but what about multiple tracks? Chances are you're going to have multiple tracks if you're working on music in GarageBand. So how can you fade in and out the entire song? So to get rid of the automation on this I could do that several ways. Of course I can undo a few times. I can also select each point and delete the points. And once I do that it'll return to a regular line and then I can position it where I want. I could also just click the Enable Automation button to turn it off and that way it ignores the automation here. And now I can set one for the entire song. So now I've added a second loop to this and I have 2 tracks. And the idea is I want to fade them both in and out at the same time. I'm going to go to Track and then Show Master Track. Because it's the master track that will control the volume for all of the tracks. And this one has automation as well. So it obeys the show or hide automation there. And you can select volume here for automation. And then you have this line here that you can control. So I can click here to create a point and drag the initial point down. I can create a point at the end. I can create another point here. I can drag this down and now the volume for all tracks will follow this automation path. Now you may want more of a curve here than a straight line. The way to do that is to add multiple points. So I'm going to add another point in the middle there, another point here, and then you could drag each one of these up and down. You can also drag left and right but you only can do it in one dimension. So when you click and drag you must immediately decide am I dragging left or right or up or down. As soon as you drag in one dimension you're not going to be able to drag in the other. So you can create a little bit of a curve there. Another thing you could do is you can actually draw using the Command key. So I can press the Command key and I can move around and draw and create a curve like that. So you can do all sorts of fancy things.